Hi, hope you're having a great day. You're watching JVG Entertainment, and for this video, I'll be covering the viewership of a lot of streaming things and basically covering kind of the streaming wars that is going on right now. So the viewerships that I'm going to be covering for is going to be for Cobra Kai, the Look Up Boba Fett, Hawkeye Finale, Don't Look Up, Matrix 4 or Matrix Resurrection, and Encanto. So I'm going to be covering all the viewerships, telling you how they're doing in streaming and everything. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty interesting and informative video that I really hope you enjoy, especially if you're one of the people that really love these things. I think you're going to really enjoy this video a lot. So that's much to watch the whole way around so you get all the info that I'm sure you're going to love. But before I get started, just make sure to leave a like. It very much helps with the videos, so please leave a like. As well, subscribe for a lot of other content. I've created a bunch of content on almost everything that I mentioned in here. So definitely make sure to check out all the content on my channel and subscribe for a lot more content coming out in the future. And lastly, make sure to comment down below which of these shows or movies did you watch and which one was your favorite. I'm definitely very curious, so tell me that down in the comments. And yeah, let's get started. Okay, so one last thing before I get started is that if you only want to make sure to watch like from one specific thing, from either one show or from a movie, you can check it down in the description, and I have the time links for each one of the things that you can check out. If you want to check out just Don't Look Up, or you want to just check out Encanto's viewership, or you want to check out Book of Boba Fett or whatever, you can check it down in the description and just press the time code, and then it'll take you directly to that part. However, I do recommend you watching the whole video, but you can just check out whatever you're interested in if that's the case. Just like in the description. Okay, let's start with the first show that I'm going to cover, and that is Cobra Kai. So let's check out the Cobra Kai viewership. And Cobra Kai got viewed by 1 million US households who watched the season 4 premiere, so just the first episode during its first weekend, so only its first 3 days, which was in New Year's Eve last week, and 682 K, so 682,000 people, US households watched the finale of the season during the same weekend, which is actually pretty incredible. That's a pretty nice retention rate, and obviously not everybody's going to watch it in the same weekend, so maybe they're spreading it out a little bit, but that's actually a pretty good retention rate, so that's awesome for the show. Globally, season 4 also got 120 million hours viewed in its first 3 days, according to the global charts, showing just how big this show is. So Netflix put out these charts, they started putting them out not that long ago, which is pretty incredible, so now we get to see how many hours it's viewed, and this one got viewed by 120 million hours in its first 3 days only, which is incredible. That's amazing. I'm definitely curious to see how it does the second week. I'm sure it's probably going to grow even more because it's going to have a full week, so that's just incredible for this show. It definitely had a very strongly viewed, and I think that's truly amazing. You can see that this is not just US franchise, but actually a whole worldwide franchise, so that's awesome. If you want some Cobra Kai spoilers in my channel, I already posted my spoiler review, which is here, link in the corner. I definitely recommend you watching it. I definitely talk a lot of topics, so you can check out that video. Or you can check out my other video, characters rank, which I definitely recommend you checking out as well. I ranked all the characters from my least favorite to my most favorite from this season only. So check it out. I definitely enjoy that video. And a lot more content is coming on Cobra Kai. I'm gonna do seasons ranked and episodes ranked. So subscribe for all the content that I'm sure you're going to enjoy. Okay, now let's move on to the next show, and that's going to be the Book of Boba Fett. And the Book of Boba Fett had a premiere of 1.7 million US households who watched the premiere episode in the first 5 days, since they do debut in Wednesday, so the whole 5 days until the end of the week. It got 1.7 million US households who watched the premiere, which is pretty good actually. It puts it below Loki and the Falcon and Winter Soldier. However, it puts it higher than WandaVision and Hawkeye's premiere. So pretty solid start, just like around the middle of between all the MCU shows, live action shows. So that's pretty cool. That's a pretty solid start. Like I said, not something super incredible, but I think it's a pretty solid start. I can't wait to see where it goes, especially with the second episode. I wonder how many people actually got retained by the first episode, and if it grows by any big surprise that maybe it has in store for the future episodes. If you have not seen the show, you can check out my non-spoiler review of the first episode. I definitely recommend you watching it, just to tell you whether it's worth watching or not. Definitely recommend you watching that video, especially since it is the new Star Wars thing. Do you want to watch it? Is it worth your time? Check it out. Okay, let's move on to the next thing, and that's going to be Hawkeye. And Hawkeye had a premiere of 1.5 million US households in its first 5 days from the first episode, which was like back in November during Thanksgiving. And then the second episode had a retention rate of just 1.3 million US households who watched the second episode in that same period. So it was also a pretty high retention rate, like really high. So that's pretty cool. And then the finale got watched by 1.3 million US households during its first 5 days. So that's around the same retention rate from the second episode, which is pretty incredible. This makes it the least watched finale though by live action MCU shows. WandaVision had 1.4 million US households who watched it, Falcon Soldier had 1.7 million households who watched it, and Loki had 1.9 million US households who watched it in the first 5 days. So that is showing some decline for the MCU shows. However, I just think that it was because it was Hawkeye. I don't think it's because MCU is declining, especially with Spider-Man No Way Home. I just think that Hawkeye just didn't have that much appeal, but who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. I think we're gonna have to wait and see with Moon Knight. I think Moon Knight is gonna definitely blow up, but still pretty sad for Hawkeye. So what you thought about the finale down in the comments. I'm definitely very curious to hear your thoughts. Okay, now moving on to the movies, and we're gonna start with Encanto. And Encanto got 2 million US households on Christmas weekend who watched it around the first 3 days, becoming the third best debut ever for Disney Plus, just behind Loki and Soul. Loki had like 2.5 million or something like that, around that. I think it was 2.5 million, right? And Soul had 2.4 million US households. So those were pretty incredible debuts, but those were original content. And Encanto had already been in theaters for a whole month, so that just makes it even more impressive. And that's also really impressive that it beat out Shang-Chi, which is a Marvel movie. So it's really impressive. I think Disney found a soft spot with animated films where they can get box office money because they're really good box office wise, and they can get streaming content to get a bunch of views and a lot of type of stuff. So I think it did really incredible here. The audience skewed 9% more towards female, so more females watched it, just 9% more. Not a lot, but just a little bit more female, which is pretty good. I think the movie is a little bit more female oriented, so that's cool. And households with Hispanic viewers over-indexed by 64%, showing the Hispanic community is definitely showed up for this movie, not just in streaming but also on theaters. The Hispanic community has definitely been super supportive of this movie, and I think it's for a great reason because I think this movie is awesome and definitely represents the Hispanic community pretty well. If you want to check out more content that I have on this movie, check it out right here, link in the corner, where I ranked all the characters from my least favorite to my best favorite from the Familia Madrigal family. So if you want to check it out, go ahead and check it out. I definitely recommend it, and I talk spoilers there as well, so if you have seen the movie, I just think you're going to enjoy that video a lot. Okay, let's move on to the next movie, and that's going to be Don't Look Up, which was by Netflix. And Don't Look Up got viewed by 3.1 million US households in its first 3 days, which was its Christmas weekend, just like Encanto. It also got 152 million 290,000 watched hours in its first full week, which beats Red Notice's old record, making this movie the biggest movie of Netflix ever, which is really incredible. You can definitely tell that it had great star power from Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Ariana Grande, Timothée Chalamet, and Chris Evans. You can definitely tell it had great star power. Add to that the fact that it had a lot more of an interesting concept than Red Notice, and you get a mega super hit, becoming the biggest Netflix movie ever. So that's incredible. Have you seen it? What do you think about it? Tell me down in the comments. I'm definitely curious. I actually have not seen it yet. I'm actually going to see it today because the concept sounds really interesting. I just hadn't had time to see it, so I'm going to see it today. So I'll see what I think about it, but I'm definitely very curious to hear what you think about it, because I know a lot of critics didn't like this movie. So what did you think about it? I'm definitely very curious. Okay, let's move on to the last movie that I want to cover. That is going to be The Matrix 4, aka Matrix Resurrections, which got viewed by 2.8 million US households on its first 5 days in HBO Max, which is pretty good actually. It's a pretty good solid start. It's not incredible. There was a lot of other movies like Godzilla vs. Kong, Mortal Kombat, and Suicide Squad, which had a way higher debuts, but also isn't the lowest. It's actually like straight up in the middle, I think. So it's pretty good for The Matrix ish, because the box office wasn't that great, so I guess it isn't pretty good. But if you want to check out a little bit more of a fuller breakdown on this topic, let me check out right here, video in the corner, which just released, where I covered all the December box office and everything. And you can just check, and you can just go to the description and check out the Matrix part, where I covered both the viewership in HBO Max and compared to other movies, as well as the box office, to tell you whether this movie was a hit or a flop. If you're curious for that, check it out. I definitely think you'll enjoy it. And yeah, that is my breakdown for the streaming wars and how much viewership all these new streaming content got, which is pretty incredible. We definitely got a lot of content. We had Encanto, Don't Look Up, The Matrix 4, Cobra Kai Season 4, Hawkeye, and the book of Boba Fett. So that's really a lot of content that we've been getting, and it's really incredible. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video, and hopefully you find it informative. And if you did, then just please leave a like. It really very much enjoyed the video, like I mentioned earlier. So please leave a like. Also subscribe for a lot of other content. I have a lot more content coming up, so just subscribe. I definitely think you enjoy it, especially if you're into movies and shows. Just subscribe. This is the channel for you. And lastly, leave a comment down below which one of these was your favorite, and are you happy that any of this is having so much success, or which one didn't you like, or anything you want to talk about these movies and shows. Just tell me that down in the comments. I'm definitely very curious, and I'll definitely read your comment. And yeah, that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. And this is Jerry Entertainment out.